live.
Yeah, hey, yeah, you're right. I am kind of being thrown off by that monitor over there not being on.
I don't have my glasses, so I'm pulling a Velma, and I can't see that monitor, so I have a monitor here that's trying to do everything. It's pretty half-assed this week, so apologies.
It's not half-assed. It's just new and improved, right?
Improved.
Come on, let's channel a page from Wizards and whatever the virtual tabletop. Not half-assed. New.
Yes, this is new, powered by Unreal Engine.
Yep. Yet to be seen if it is improved.
Right. You will not know. So yeah, we are back, and so I downloaded the playtest. I didn't get through very much of it. I watched a few videos about it more than I actually read through it itself. So the One D&D playtest, I sent you a link to.
I was just about to say, oddly enough, I read through it too. Thanks to you. Yeah, yeah. Right after the cast yesterday, or not last week, logged onto the site. I'm just like, okay, let's go find these. I don't really care, but I just got to do it. I'm like, log in with your D&D Beyond. I'm like, I don't. No, you lost me, right? And then
I will not.
Very kindly supplied me with a copy. Yep.
Yes,
so thank you.
Yes. Of course. Yeah. So, what were your kind of initial reactions?
I'm aggressively disinterested in Dungeons and Dragons. Sorry, like that was my big takeaway.
Wait a minute,
right?
This is a big change for you. I don't recognize you anymore.
Yeah, I know. No, I guess it was honestly hard. It was hard to get through because it's not like a complete rule set. It's kind of like, here's all the differences that we're testing from the current 5e. Like
possible errata or whatever, possible revision. Yeah.
So in that case, like, it is not a complete game by itself. That plus the 5e handbook, or plus maybe whatever like learn to play kit they have out, you could absolutely play. The two sticking points, which maybe we'll get into, one, they completely fucked up on the half whatever thing.
Oh, right.
Possibly the opposite direction.
Yes.
And the other thing is natural 20.
Right.
Okay.
Crit.
For as long as I can remember, at
they
least
have to change their new
decade.
roll as fuck now.
Yeah, they should. Yeah. They specifically say, like, okay, multiple thoughts about how you should only make a roll if the DC is between 5 and 30. Right? Okay, I get it. Let's kind of scale it down. My thing is only make a roll when it's fucking interesting, but whatever. We can't say that. 1s automatically fail. 20s automatically succeed and gain a point of inspiration, but they don't, and I'm trying to remember the specific wording, they don't bypass the limitations of the test.
Oh, right.
Which is confusing as fuck. Pardon my language, right? So, like, their example was, it doesn't bypass range or line of sight, right? And my thing is, well, range and line of sight, if something's out of range, you don't get a roll. And if it's out of line of sight, why would you get a roll anyway, right? So I think they're bad examples. It does not clear up the confusion that has been going on for decades about a natural 20 automatically succeeds and lets players do whatever they kind of want, right? So, good job not making that clear. And like, someone had a kind of a decent thread about, okay, critical reading skills and how let's read what it actually says. I agreed and said, yes. However, if people are still misinterpreting this rule after decades, you've still done a fucking poor job of presenting it.
Right. Yeah, what do you think? Everything's a test now. There's there's no checks. There's no.
No. I think it's like test.
Oh, encompasses
everything. Check. Whatever.
Right.
Like, we haven't done away with those things.
Right.
We've just combined them under this new bucket term of test.
Yes. So hopefully that's easier to teach, but it's taken away some of the stuff, and so no fumble now. So just don't succeed. And so
I forget exactly what a natural 1 does, but yeah.
Yeah. So it doesn't have, and maybe it's up to house rules or homebrew or whatever for the.
I got feelings on that too.
Yeah, but fumble. If not for fumble, I wouldn't have suicided my character.
Suicide implies intent.
Well, that's true. I wouldn't have accidentally put my sword all the way through my abdomen and then got like stabbed with a dagger to follow. So I basically had two blades in me.
Only one of these is mine.
Yeah, as basically a level 1 character, no armor. I'm like, okay, this isn't going to be good. I think I had like negative 12 hit points very quickly. So yeah, but that's kind of the fun of things. I mean, I think the reason they want to take double damage away from crits and stuff, and so magic doesn't crit. The DM doesn't crit.
Oh, that's right. They did specifically say player.
Right. So I think that takes away some of the fun. But then you're not going to, like what I had, insta kill your low level characters.
I mean, it's easy enough for them. I look at it kind of the way as like Magic or like board games or other card games. It's like, here are the basic rules. separate advanced rules on the card or attached to monsters almost always supersede the base rules. So maybe we'll see monsters that say, hey, this monster does crit, right? Or, hey, this spell does crit, right?
Right. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, so I don't know. They're going to be throwing this stuff out there and watching the social media reaction.
Yeah, well, I hope they watch the reaction on that half race thing, because that was just a fucking nightmare.
Yeah, it will be interesting. The half orc, halfling. All the new combinations.
You know what I'd liken it to? They kind of pulled a Japan, right?
Yeah,
like you know how Japan here is like, oh, half babies are they're adorable, they're magical, they're the wonderful. Like that's what WotC did, where it's just kind of like, ooh, magical, wondrous pairings, and you're just like, bro, can't just have people. Right?
No, it's a special...
toxic positivity.
Nice.
That's what they did.
Yeah. Nice. Toxic positivity. I like that.
I didn't come up with that term, but yeah.
But it's perfect. Yeah. That's really funny. Yeah, so that was weird how they were terming that, and if they're keeping race and they're going to do that special amazing magical thing, I don't know.
Yeah. I'm not disappointed, but I was kind of surprised that it wasn't like a full playtest packet. It was just kind of like an update.
Right.
Packet,
And and I guess they just wanted to get something
out there.
Yeah, because there's going to be more. I forget what the next part is, but there's more stuff. Coming up.
Yeah.
So it's just going to be a piece at a time, and maybe so they don't overwhelm people and they get a lot more feedback if they just kind of drip it out,
but this also means that, like, I was surprised because I expected something like what they did with 5e the first time, where it's like, new people, you can play with this, right? Like new people who don't have any other materials can't play with this update thing. Well, I suppose they would have to go a couple different places. Like I said, they'd have to go get that learn to play kit and then this new update kit and kind of layer them on top.
I wonder what their intent is. I guess that they're just.
I think what you said, get something out there as fast as possible.
It's
get feedback.
It's coming. The One D&D is coming.
You're welcome to it.
All right. Well, let's get started for this week. Hey Matt. Hey Crispin. Hey Abyss. Abyss was the first one on. Very nice.
Yeah.
Spamming those emojis. Nice.
It's an emoji of just me going like.
Abyss is asking what about a natural 6, an incredible 14, a plain 19? There was some actual player that I was watching that they couldn't stop doing the annoying dirty 20. With my bonuses, that's a dirty 20. I'm like, okay, please stop saying that. All right. So let's get started for this week. I'm a little limited without a keyboard and being very nearsighted. Being very nearsighted. So this will be a little different this week, but I'll try to keep up.
It might not even be me in front of you.
Yeah, that's right. Chris may not even be here, and because Chris can't see the monitor. There may be bunny ears. There may be a puppy dog filter. I can't, really.
It's like you've given my kid the phone.
Yeah, right. And do those crazy, now you look like a baby. Now you look like... All right. Well, let's do this. Welcome to the Weekly. I'm Jeremy.
I'm Chris.
And this week on the Weekly, Marvel Multiverse RPG gets a release date.
Oh.
Moonbreaker Miniature Skirmish on PC.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah. It's an odd one. The Future of Catan? ? eBay buys TCGPlayer and DCC bundle of holdings.
Okay, yep. Sorry, I heard DC and thought we were talking about like comics and stuff. And then
DCC.
That's
right. Yeah. Sorry, Dungeon Crawl Classics.
A bundle of unreleased and or scrapped movies? No, Dungeon Crawl Classics. Right.
These are all canceled comic books for you to download.
That would just be, oh my God, that would be the most epic troll ever. Just like, buy this bundle, and it's literally just fucking empty.
Right. He gets a selection of alternative covers. All right. Oh, this monitor is not working. So let's start with. So we got a release date, June, not a specific date, a month, a release month. Well, June of 2023 for the Marvel Multiverse RPG.
So next summer.
Yes, and this is of course the Matt Forbeck designed, and it's the D616 system using three D6s, and it's interesting that the reasoning for it is that because you're going to be playing characters of such vastly different powers, like the power scale is really crazy with superheroes, that this will help make that work because it'll be like a target number and then you're rolling 3d6s. And I want to see that in action. Or I want to see those. I mean, I'm sure the playtest will explain it very well, but I'm curious to see how that works. So so that's Matt Forbeck and Iban Coelho is the artist for that. So we'll see some Mighty Marvel action coming out, and it's they're trying to time it up. There will also be an adventure book to follow in July, so the Cataclysm of Kang, which will be 6 modules that are linked, can be played separately, linked together, or as an overreaching narrative arc, just in time for the Marvel movie coming out, the Ant-Man and Wasp Quantum Mania, which I guess Kang will be a part of. So we'll have.
I was wondering if there was going to be some kind of
tying
so
it together.
As someone who is really not a comic book person, apart from like whatever, does that ring a bell? Like, okay, my thought process here. The old Marvel heroic role-playing, right? The one that was Cortex powered, that is actually really good and now impossible to find. They put out not adventure books, but they put out kind of campaign books. Like the one they put out was Civil War. And you basically played through the Civil War events. It was kind of like prologue. Like this was stuff we had seen, not me, but like comic book fans had seen in the comics, right? The idea was you're playing these Marvel heroes, and you get to play through the events of Civil War.
Right.
And my initial reaction was, why the fuck would I want to replay something?
Right.
But then now I kind of get it, right? Like the big thing is for Marvel heroic role playing was that there are no character creation rules. There were, right? But it's Marvel. You're playing the Marvel characters.
Right.
Why not play through these stories as well to see how would you do it differently, or right? Anyway, is there any indication that the new Marvel 616 is doing something similar, or is this whatever Kang adventure completely original?
No, it sounds like because they say in this book that's released in June, there is going to be dozens of statted out classic characters. So both villains and heroes will be statted out. But I believe there's also going to be so dozens of pre-built Marvel characters. Right. But you can create your own bespoke characters at the same level, like similar to, just kind of say I want to play a Spider-Man like or whatever. But they have they have all the named characters. So maybe in this adventure you can just pick up, you can grab a pre-gen, or you can actually roll something up if you want to be your own difficult original combination of something.
I'm somewhat skeptical, and that skepticism is fueled mainly by how much I liked the older Marvel heroic role-playing. Like, that was one of the first games where, like, you had all these disparate power heroes, but I think the game did a really good job of mechanically making everyone relevant in terms of, like, being able to use, like, your intelligence to create assets during downtimes to help your fellow team members and do all that stuff. And
that's cool.
I think it was difficult. It was potentially difficult for people to get their heads around, because I remember in one session I was playing Doctor Strange, right? I'm kind of like, okay, well, I'm going to use my super sorcery skill to make a tracking spell, right? It doesn't specifically say I can do that, but that's part and parcel of my magic ability, right?
Right.
Compared to the previews I've seen for this Marvel game, where it's like Spider-Man has a fucking wall of text for all the abilities, whereas like in the Cortex one it would be like web slinging, D10, whatever you can come up with.
Whatever that
here
would
it's
do,
like wall crawling, web slinging, web gliding, I'm just like, this is too much, right?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I wonder if because that will be you don't really want a skill list. You don't want to have to go down.
Or do you? Or do you want to be a player who knows exactly what you can do, right?
And that might be based on more recent tastes. Is that we want to be able to scrutinize the wording of a skill and say, no, I can do this, and have nice arguments with your GM.
So I'm not the person to review the new Marvel role-playing game because I'm already kind of biased.
Yeah. But you can still download it for free. The playtest is still available. And so up until the actual release, we're going to be getting some more of that. So it'll be around. All right. This was an odd one. And it the reason it caught my eye is because I was thinking of the One D&D video, and they're showing these miniatures that I'm like, oh, how are you going to...
sell that giant dragon.
How are you going to sell as cosmetics? So but I'd like this sword for then I have to pay for that. So 99 cents, and I can put that sword on my miniature. So that is a thing. And so Unknown Worlds, the developers that did Subnautica, which is a pretty popular, well-done game, want to make the world's best digital miniatures game.
Okay.
And they're releasing Moonbreaker.
Okay.
And right now, it's kind of a you buy in and you can play it. There's no subscription or anything. You pay for it. And then there's also, because it's still in beta or still in development, a founder's pack that gives you probably some exclusive options or like indications that you're an early supporter.
Right, like a special skin or something.
Right. So this is a skirmish game done with miniatures. So it very much feels like a tabletop with miniatures on it. And the one thing that they're adding, the one system that they're adding to it is model painting.
Okay.
So there is a default kind of paint scheme on all the characters, but you can go in and crazy super customize, and it sounds like it gets really ridiculous and really granular. So a co-founder of Unknown Worlds, Charlie Cleveland, said, "We wanted to make something new. We're Unknown Worlds, we like to try crazy stuff. Well, maybe not crazy, but we like to push things. We're making the world's greatest digital miniatures game. We want to make take the miniature hobby and keep what is amazing about it, which is almost the analog part of it, the imagination part of it, and the tactile physical nature of it. And we want to remove all the barriers." So it's a giant investment to put all that money, time, physical setup, and all of that. So we're trying to streamline that and make it accessible, make the idea of a tabletop hobby accessible, not just the game, but the hobby itself, meaning painting. So the way this works is you have a crew, captain, and 10 crew members. Okay. You have this this magical resource that's generated that allows you to deploy further characters. You kind of get your characters randomly, like cards, and you can just deploy them. Like your first group that deploys is random, and then you can choose who follows of the 10.
Oh, of the 10 you're already. So it's kind of like you build a deck of 10.
Yeah.
The ones you get at the beginning are just going to...
Right. Okay. So it changes. So your strategy is a little bit undermined. You can't come out like with your fast guys, take objectives or whatever.
That's interesting. I like that
so far. Cinder is this magical resource. You use it to power abilities, and then characters will also have passive abilities that will be triggered by certain conditions, like if your character's half health or, cornered or surrounded by more
bloodied?
Yeah, right. Yeah, so things like that. And so they said, we're trying to streamline and make... Oh, yeah, so I'm repeating myself. So every unit gets 1 ability and captains get 3. And, it just... it's a really interesting approach, but it sounds like it's going to be riddled with microtransactions because they want to release, like, seasons of things. So similar, kind of like what Fortnite is doing, maybe without the big IPs. They're going to do things that you can, you'll see how long people have been playing by all the crazy things their characters are customized with. There's 3 factions in the game. The Methodori are Roman-inspired protectors. Smugglers are ragtag crooks and rebels. And the Cholek are more spiritual-leaning with inspiration from Central American cultures. So it looks, the videos for it look a little ragtag. Like the game itself looks a little eclectic and kind of like a little smash-up-y, just like, oh, these crazy guys, what are they in the same universe? And very stylized. The miniatures themselves are very dynamic and stylized, and they have little animations when they use their abilities. But basically, you are like lifting them. You're like moving them around because it's a turn-based kind of counting hexes and strategy. So yeah, it's very very interesting. The games are about 30 minutes long so far. And the first 3 captains that are in early access. So they'll release a season about every 4 months with a new captain, new units. Oh, and this was the other interesting aspect of it. So how they're going to monetize it, I'm very curious about. But people pay for cosmetics and and there's very minimal single player content. I think you can duel against the computer. Okay. But to kind of improve your skills or kind of learn strategies, but you're basically just playing online online versus matches. Right. So similar to like Hearthstone, it feels a little bit like they're doing a Hearthstone kind of thing in that way. But the painting, little suite there is really complicated. They have a basic paint tool, washes, dry brush, airbrush, stippling, decals, and you can even mix your own custom colors. And there's a masking tool, so you can mask the gun and then go back over and paint the gloves.
Well, I mean, okay, if you have an airbrush tool, you would have to have like a mask, or a dry brush tool. You'd have to have a masking tool.
Yes, right? So it sounds crazy. Oh, so the other thing that besides that crazy painting mechanic, they're also going to do audio dramas. So I think they really want to reinforce the lore and this setting. So along with releasing new captains and abilities and characters, they're going to be releasing regular audio dramas that are going to basically be podcasts that are like fully produced dramas. And the Weird does that with there is a podcast that is basically the stories of the world of Malifaux.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. So they have a broadside. Some broadcast, something of that. So it's like an old radio show, but it's stories of the characters in the setting, and they kind of update you with where the lore is and everything. And so it's like old radio plays. So this might be a little bit more updated version of that. And but I thought that was an interesting approach, because that's the one thing that I don't like about some overly developed visually. Overly developed settings. It's like, well, what? Okay, that's pretty, but what's going on? What is this, and how do these things relate to each other?
I'm going to take the opposite approach. Where I'm kind of like,
yes,
okay,
yes,
like
yes.
I get liking that.
Mm-hmm.
For me, it's like what we've talked about with like IP games, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like if a game is very IP heavy, how close are you to just replaying what we've already seen, right?
Right.
Like, I fucking hate that word lore, right? Like people put out like a lore content, like, okay, the creators have imagined what's going to happen. That's not what's happened at our table.
I see.
Right?
Yeah, right.
Like, I get it, right? Some people like to say, oh, like, well, this captain did this and that, and really what happened? No, not really fucking happened, because it's all fiction, right? But for me, it's the disconnect between, hey, like, am I allowed to tell my own stories with the characters you've made? Okay, cool. Or, right, like, you've put out the official version of what happened, and if it's different, there's that disconnect, right? So I kind of... I don't hate it. It's just a massive amount of lore is not a draw for me.
I see. Yeah, no, that's true. Yeah, I think it can go both ways. It can add a little spice. You're like, oh, these are kind of arch enemies. Our captains are kind of, according to the fiction, against each other. So wow, this will be fun. But I know I can see what you're saying. It's like, oh yeah, this doesn't make any sense. We're totally going.
If you have like not vague, but like a little bit, it's like, okay, cool, I get what's going on. Things are happening. If it's like if it's like character backstory, like reams and reams of text and stuff, like, well, why am I playing? You've already written it.
Right. It's already done. We know what happened. Yeah, that's true. So this is coming out. The early access is coming out September 29th, and it's going to be buy to play. So $29.99 gets you the game and everything that they're going to be releasing. Or I don't know. I don't know that for sure. They didn't specify if they're going to release things if they're all by a piece at a time, or
given how much things now are subscription.
Yeah. So as a service more than a game. And then there's a $24.99 Founders Pack, which will probably get you some starting stuff and kind of distinguish you as an early supporter. So yeah, a very interesting approach. And take a look at the videos for this, and it's very curious the how much it looks like a miniature skirmish game. It's very odd. Sorry. Yes,
I can certainly appreciate. Okay, it sounded like marketing speak, right? So I'm not saying that's not their goal, but I can certainly appreciate the goal of reducing or eliminating a barrier to the hobby in the terms of like physical storage space or like painting skill, right? Like, not everybody has the time, money, and ability to do the things they want to do.
Right.
So just saying, no, you can do that here, kind of regardless of everyone. A way to level the playing field, I think, is an admirable goal.
Yeah. Again, bring people in, because really this could make people want to play it on the tabletop, and that's a great thing to get people into miniature skirmish. And skirmish is such
or
small
people
scale.
might go, cool, I was playing Moonbreaker and I tried painting my own things. They looked like shit. I quit. Right? That's the other thing.
Yeah, and I'm curious what kind of demand there's going to be for physical versions of these too. That might be a step that they take, is like making some kind of deal with someone so you can buy. Because if you spend all this time painting and you could actually have that physically produced, people might actually want that too, because it's only 10 miniatures.
Yeah.
Oh, the other thing that I forgot is the setting, and I guess the reason that they're doing this dramatic audio podcast. The setting was created by fantasy author Brandon Sanderson, who, as we know, finished the Wheel of Time series and is like the most overpaid Kickstarter author. He made like $4 million for unknown, unreleased books, like 4 books, and raised like $4 million. So he made a lot. And so yeah, it's a busy guy, very prolific, and so he was responsible for the setting. So it might be interesting.
I'm
And he's got-
expecting gendered magic.
Right.
Oh, that's not fair. I suppose that's Robert Jordan.
Right.
Okay.
So we'll see. So yeah, September 29th, we can see what that looks like, and more along the technology. This is so tech heavy. This is almost no tabletop. I mean, it's like
It's like virtual tabletop.
the perversion of tabletop. We'll call it that. That'll be what this is this week. Settlers of Catan will become a holographic AR board game in 2023.
The most boring. Okay, I take it back. It back. Monopoly is a worse game.
Ooh,
Catan is
yeah.
at least kind of like a decent game that's just oversaturated.
Yeah.
Who needs AR version of Settlers of Catan?
Yeah.
What are you going to do? Like twist your little hexagonal mountain? Or something? Yeah. Oh, God. How many virtual wood for sheep jokes are going to come out of this?
Yes. And so Catan, one of the most critically acclaimed, most popular board games ever made, averages 1 million copies sold per year.
Oh, okay.
My God. Anyhow, so that's Asmodee as well, so which is now Embracer, right? So the group Tilt 5 is responsible for this AR version. They're founded by a former Valve engineer, Jeri Ellsworth, and they've had a few Kickstarters. They've produced about 21 AR games of various levels. So they have experience doing this, and they're going to be releasing Catan Tilt 5 AR in spring of 2023.
It's not a mouthful.
Yeah, and it sounds like it's basically going to be a PC game version of it. You can play classic AI opponents or online with anybody all over the world, and you're going to be using their headset, which it's a self-contained set that bends light into your eyes with special mirrors, lenses, and waveguides that results in a pretty narrow field of view. And so that means that the headset projects their light onto a retro-reflective game board that bounces back at you, and so you see things that are there. So I guess you can still see through the glasses, but then there's like stuff that's being produced kind of holographically. So that allows things to either look like they're inside the table or coming off of the table. So, and this would be, a next step in, virtual tabletops. You'd have to kind of, well, I guess you could be, this is connected online as well. So this might be a next step in virtual tabletops to make things a little more immersive, your little maps and stuff. You're going, up mountains and.
As a kid who is excited as fuck to watch that scene in Star Wars where they're playing that holographic chess, I'm like, that's cool.
Right.
Here I am, fucking 42, going, that's fucking dumb. Right? I'm sorry. Like, what? Oh, cool. Technology. It's awesome that they're able to do this. Why?
Yeah.
Like, why do you want to sit there with a little headset staring at a blank board?
Right.
I'm gonna. The robber moves over here, right? And I'm gonna roll my virtual dice. And short it out, right?
Yeah,
I roll what I roll.
Batteries.
I don't know, man.
Yeah, it's odd, and we'd have no idea what the long-term effect of this eye-bending, light-bending
There's
stuff
gonna be a
is.
whole generation of people that got like.
I can't see the color blue any longer. Yeah. So it's a bit expensive too. $359 for a pair, $659 for two, and a bargain, $959 for a 3-pack.
And the only thing it does currently is play Catan.
No, there's about 21 games that they've done for it.
I'm sorry.
So they've had
I take it
previous
back.
Kickstarters that kind of perfect this technology. So it is retail released, and this partnership for Catan was, of course, with Asmodee. So that leads them into the possibility of Ticket to Ride, Gloomhaven, Carcassonne. There's so many games in Asmodee.
I love Carcassonne. It's a fucking tile matching game.
Yeah, right.
You don't need any kind of AR on top of that.
Right. And so this will also require a Windows PC to run it. So it's kind of like VR now. You're cabled to something, and
okay.
So
let me know when they develop an actual like fucking head jack.
Yeah, right.
Then I'll be interested.
Just gonna stick something in here.
As long as it's not paired up with Elon Musk. 'Cause I don't want to end up like a suicidal monkey from all his brain chips. Anyway.
And finally, let's return back to the analog world where eBay is acquiring the TCGPlayer, one of the largest trading card marketplaces.
That's what it is. Okay.
Yeah. So the reason that they're doing this is they've been kind of building up support. They see the trading card category as very attractive with substantial growth. And so Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh!, Magic the Gathering, and also sports cards. Right. So eBay has recently, they acquired a sports card grading company, as well as a vault. So there's like this eBay vault system where it's climate controlled, temperature, humidity controlled, where buyers and sellers can keep their cards so they don't, so nothing happens. between the time of sale and the time of purchase and whatever. So those are the things that they did before this purchase. And so this fits perfectly into their strategy to kind of take over. And the good thing about it is there's a lot of, well, not that eBay is completely fraud proof, but there's more protections through eBay, and there's a lot of fraud. Like this big boom now with the millennials and Pokemon cards.
Right.
There are people just cranking out counterfeit Pokemon cards in China, and then they're all over Amazon and stuff. So you can't even be sure what you're buying anymore. So
well, here's my advice: don't fucking buy.
Right. Yeah. So this is interesting because it's kind of stepping up. So the highest graded card that they've sold so far has been $2,000 on using the professional sports authenticator. So and the eBay Vault is a sprawling 31,000 square foot temperature controlled facility where you can store your graded cards.
Okay.
So keep that Black Lotus pristine.
Yep.
And,
Damn, I wish I hadn't sold mine.
Yeah. So that's getting weird, but at least it's analog. That's the only comfort that I have.
Yeah,
It's actually a physical
weird.
thing.
And like it is kind of okay, sure, but it's like one more step towards not monopoly, but it's like sure, okay, yes, everything under under one roof has positives.
Right.
A giant snapping up smaller market stuff is not positive.
Yeah, that's true because there's going to be limited places that there is one place and you pay their fee and you do you do it their way. Yeah. Well, one more virtual thing, one more digital thing, bundle of holding for Dungeon Crawl Classics Essential and Chaos bundles.
Okay.
So Goodman Games' flagship range of bundle of holding that was available, that will be available until September 12th, was previously offered last year in April. They're repeating that again. So it's the Essentials bundle, $14.95, gets you the rulebook, Sailors of the Starless Sea, which is their funnel, their zero level funnel. The Black Heart of Thakulon, the Undying, the Judges Screen, and then there's also the Chaos Rising. So these are modules that will take characters from level 1 to 6 in the Empire of the East, and $50 value. And so the Chaos Rising is 4 more modules. It'll go from 4 to 6. And it's good stuff. And it's going to the San Francisco Marin Food Bank, nice. as the charities always do. So lots of dungeons for a small price. If you haven't gotten into Dungeon Crawl Classics, this is a very cheap way to do it because they're not cheap. Like the books are usually not
the
cheap.
physical books.
Yeah,
right.
physical
but
books
you
are
also
not
need
cheap.
like the wacky dice, like
that's right.
13
That's
sided.
right. Yes.
So I will say this: I probably will not get that bundle only because I've already bought previous bundles that are like a bunch of modules. Because system aside, and I don't really have any comments on that. Dungeon Crawl Classic modules are great old school classic modules that, with a little work, can be adapted to basically anything.
Right.
I've used a couple of them to run Dungeon World adventures, and like. You just file off the numbers and just make your own monsters, and I think they're great.
Yeah.
To be fair, this isn't for a bunch of modules, but I mean, why not check out a system that has a bunch of awesome modules for it? No,
definitely. I would in that same way. I would recommend that. So I'll put links to the bundles, and you've got until September. What did I say? September 12th for those bundles. But one is the Essentials of the Repeat, and the Chaos Rising is stuff that hasn't been offered before.
Oh, nice.
So that's going to do it for this week. So where can people find you?
On Twitter. Not as always, since I just got off my fucking suspension.
Oh, what were you suspended for?
I said more turfs needed to have their teeth fucking.
And
they're like, nope. I'm just like, no. Right. So all those accounts I report, and just like, no violation. Right. Anyway, fuck it. Right. I'm just talking about in between parroting stuff as usual. An iteration of that Hull Breach game that has morphed into a game about growing plants.
Oh, nice.
Right? I just kind of flipped it where I said, okay, these resources building up are the negative thing. The next step there was like, okay, well, what if it's something like a way to measure sunlight and heat and water and soil quality, and you're still managing them, but it's not like a disaster.
Right,
it's like
right.
Weather gave you this. You need to get it to these levels because that's what your plants like.
Nice. Oh, very cool.
It's still pixel art, still kind of the same idea, still very much in development, and still probably going to be abandoned when the next thing pops into my head. Right?
Nice.
Which I'm already thinking about.
Oh, no.
Yep. So,
Very cool.
how about you?
Oh, so I am still doing my single panel gag cartoon. So Abuse Cartoons on YouTube and Twitch, and Abuse Cartoons on social media. GoComics.com /domestic abuse for the archive, and that's Monday nights North American time. But it's a little difficult with the back to school. So the schedule, I did it actually Tuesday night this week.
Right.
So hang in there and look for notifications. So subscribe to the channel and you'll get some notifications. And so that is it for us. Upturntable.com for everything that we're doing. Patreon.com /upturntable to become a weekling and support what we're doing. And
Strongest of all supporters.
Yes, I just saw K5 has been a YouTube member for 9 months.
Wow.
So the baby is almost ready. And thank you so much,
ready
K5.
to be born.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
And I have...
Not in Japan. It's 10 months here.
Yeah, that's right. And I've added, so the little icon should start changing. I guess
nice.
I guess it goes after, it jumps like 3 months. So it's
okay.
each month, and then it goes 3 months. So we'll see. But I've added new icons for the long-lived. So the join button below this, if you're watching it on YouTube, we'll get you down here. We'll get you the membership, which is the same bonus minus the RSS feed. So the only thing different is Patreon gives you the RSS feed, whereas YouTube is only videos. The RSS feed is everything we talk about before and after is on the Patreon RSS feed. So if you'd like to hear everything and you don't want to sit through this horrible live stream,
all the rants that get cut out.
Yes. So thanks for being with us, and we'll be back again next week.
Later, mortals.
Goodbye.
Yahoo.
Nice. All right. Be right back.
Whoa. Oh, that's right. I can't see on the video.
All right. Sorry about the 30 seconds there. I need that for the podcast. So how is everyone doing? This was a weird one. There's a big monitor that we usually monitor, where we usually can follow everything from. So I got everything crammed on this for now, but hopefully we can get a dual monitor situation going on. Just didn't have the right cables to make that happen. Why does every video card have its own inputs? So yeah, great to see you guys. So Matt, Abyss, and Crispin in the chat. Oh no, was there a problem with the memberships? I didn't get any notification on anything. But YouTube's been really strange recently. The subscriber count keeps like jumping up and down really dramatically, and yeah, same with like the membership revenue and stuff. So I don't know what they're doing. They may just be processing or filtering it in a different way. So Matt said, 5e is too structured and boring to do cool things with a natural 20, unfortunately. Got to house rule it, or you're going to you have to play an OSR instead. Yeah, really, a critical, like rolling a natural 20 or rolling a fumble, I think that's some of my favorite flavor for the game, even though I just killed a character in RuneQuest because of that. I think that's fun, and that's like fun kind of old school flavor. So, but we're just making it easy for people to understand, easy to make rules judgments, and easy to make these heroic immortal characters that 5e is so good at. So we'll see. Matt is asking, will the new Marvel RPG have a cool bar chart on the back cover like the old Marvel RPG did? Nice. Yeah, the TSR one. Yeah. The one I'm familiar with is the 80s TSR one, but Chris was talking about the heroic game that was that was the different system. So we'll see. Old stuff. Oh, nice. Thanks, Matt, for the Wikipedia link. Very cool. Oh, yeah, that's right. I think, they did metal minis for that as well. I think I remember, metal superheroes. I got into, I had the TSR Marvel game, but I got into villains and vigilantes for some reason pretty heavy. I just like I love the artwork, of course, on that. And, and I like the system, and my little brother like endlessly, because he kind of randomly generated characters. He just endlessly created characters. I think the box was just full of character sheets, so I had dozens and dozens of pre-gen characters complete with like 6-year-old illustration, 6-year-old skill level illustrations of every hero. I wonder if that's still floating around somewhere. That would be a hoot. Nice. So Abyss, I've noticed a lot of that. A lot of people that do battle reports and a lot of hobby stuff online just use the studios. A lot of like Eastern European and cheaper places like that. People just and you basically can just say, I want these units from 40K or from whatever game painted. They'll buy the models, and they'll give you a price, and they'll buy the models and paint them, and you'll just get a painted army, based on a list that you send them. Basically, you don't even have to like buy everything and then ship it to them. So some of these studios are getting pretty complete and pretty intense. And with the prices of things, if they can get, especially in Eastern Europe, I think they can get some pretty good prices for some things that are much more expensive in other countries, and get them painted for a decent price. And you can get an army, fully painted army, that's not that much more than if you would have paid crazy full price and shipping, plus a little bit more for the normal set. There you go, Matt. Send me all your miniatures. I will paint them on the live stream. You'll have the process. So Nick and I might try to make that a regular thing. If you caught last week, didn't get the bugs worked out to get my camera setup was pretty screwed up. But we were doing a kind of simultaneous streams and kind of windowed each other's stream on a painting stream. And of course, Nick is much more involved, has been going through this whole process of like learning painting and techniques and things. And I'm just, getting paint slapped on some of my miniatures because I want to play painted stuff on the table. So I was just painting wizards for Frostgrave and Brawl Arcane. So yeah, we'll have to do that. So many, yes, that's right. So I'll paint my set of Conan miniatures. I'll send them to you, Matt, and then you send me your unpainted, and I'll paint those too. It's a lot. It's hundreds of miniatures they created. If you're talking about the Mythic game, yeah, the game that they did. There's and they're great miniatures. For board game miniatures, there's great detail and nice sculpts. But Abyss said, yeah, you could always do the black and white scheme. Yeah, with primers that I forget. I just was talking with Matt about that directional spray, where you can just kind of do like light glazes and stuff. That worked really well. I saw somebody do that with an entire set of the Hate miniatures, because the graphic novel that Hate is based on is black and white. So black and white paint schemes with a little bit of like suggestive color and of course like blood and guts and stuff look pretty good. So that might be a good Zenithal. Yeah, Zenithal, the directional spray primer. Nice. Yeah, contrast paints, they're not like perfect for every application. They don't do like large smooth surfaces, but especially miniature, old school metal miniatures with a lot of little crevices and a lot of little detail in the sculpts. It picks all that stuff out really well and shortens the shortens the time you have to make something look like leather, or to make something look like worn fabric or whatever. It's pretty fast and easy. It just makes things real splotchy if you're not careful with more smooth surfaces. It's very watercolory, kind of not very smooth. Just kind of, if you don't mind a water-stained look on everything, that's pretty good. Abyss is saying I'm up for a war game, but a setting in Europe, in a fantasy setting. Oh, nice. Matt said, "Are you trying to trick me into buying more minis?" Yeah, that might be a cool thing though. If that painting stream is a regular thing. I don't know if it can be on Saturday nights, but if we do a regular thing, getting through my board games would be great. Doing just some basic color on the board games would be really fun, because I can, just kind of factory assembly line do all the colors and things. At least get at least 3 colors on every miniature. Nice. Oh yeah, what's a Black Lotus go for? Yeah, I wonder what the last one that's actually been sold has gone for. And I wonder if they've reprinted it. I wonder if they've been crazy enough to reprint it. Crazy. Hey K5, that's so cool. 9 months. Thank you so much for being around so long as a YouTube member. Abyss said, I remember Brandon Sanderson having a Black Lotus. Oh, as a necklace. Nice. Oh, yeah. And Chris's fight with the turfs, or, yelling at the turfs, trying to get getting that Twitter ban. Yeah, it's interesting, J.K. Rowling's position. She was trying to be so woke and just like put her foot in. But a lot of people have been doing that recently, just exposing their little bit of their weird hypocrisy. They're like, I'm cool, and then they'll say something. People are like, whoa, and also people are reacting so crazy to everything. So extremely sensitive and twist a lot of intention and people's words out of context can become very crazy. But she's so rich, she doesn't. Yeah, I don't think she really cares. That's the funny thing. Very funny. So I have no idea how someone can handle being that rich. Yeah, and went from like being divorced and like destitute, or the way she depicts it. I'm sure she was getting decent alimony, and with a baby in a stroller, sitting in a cafe writing her book. So I don't know. I'm not a big Harry Potter fan. It came out at the wrong time. I think if I was a lot younger, maybe I would have caught on to it. But it just seems like so inferior compared to everything that's come before it. It just doesn't. And even a lot of kid authors and young adult stuff, it just doesn't. It's not great. But I think it was just the right tone at the right time, and like, ooh, private magical boarding school and chocolate frogs and whatever. But yeah, it didn't catch me, and not my kids either. My older daughter never got into it. Everyone was trying to jam it down her throat. I think people bought her those books more than, because she was a reader. So people bought those books for her so many times. I don't know if she ever even read them. Nice. Yeah, Matt said you played Villains and Vigilantes. Was it as complicated as the other FGU games? Yeah, the system was not easy, and I kind of liked that about it. I'm trying to remember. It was one of those things that I played like late elementary, early junior high school. So it was probably way too young to really appreciate it. But I played a couple of the the Fantasy Game Unlimited stuff. What was the other? Yeah, we played it. Sorry, a couple of games. I really don't remember it that well. I have to refresh myself, but I love that. War Machine. Yeah, surprise War Machine was not brought up. Oh, interesting. In the the discussion of miniature of skirmish games. Yeah, new War Machine. I think we talked a couple of weeks ago about the new version, the Mark IV of War Machine coming out, and how they released some stuff. Oh, Bushido. Oh, cool. Oh, nice. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, the hobby store carried a lot of their games. So I remember seeing Bushido a lot. Oh, that's very cool. So that was very strange. That Moonbreaker is a very odd. It's like one of those things where does it really need to look like a miniatures game, and if it plays like one, I guess that's kind of cool. But really, if you want to try any miniatures game, the tabletop simulator. Tabletop Simulator has free stuff from the Steam Workshop for almost every single game, and a lot of people have taken their painted miniatures and photographed them. They do like a 360 photography of their actual painted miniatures and put those 3D models in the game. So you're actually like playing with people's miniatures. So we played some Infinity in there, and it's great because you can kind of because it's a virtual camera and stuff, you can fly along paths. I mean, it's not perfect software. It crashes a lot. My camera kind of locked up a lot, so I had to go log out and go back into the game a few times. But for the most part, it's pretty impressive. And just to try games, because basically you load into it, the dice are there, the rule books are there. All you have to do is deploy and start going. You just grab your armies out of these bags, and everything is there. Like some sort of depiction of just about every miniature in all those games are there. Just completely for free. So, and I don't know how much longer that's, going to be tolerated by a lot of companies, but I guess as long as they're not charging for anything. But I was really impressed. Yeah. Tabletop Simulator is a really great way to emulate miniature skirmish and war games. I was really amazed by how much is there. But yeah, very cool. Yeah, I'm wondering what's going to happen with the popularity of War Machine with this new version, because they were really somebody was talking about that in a YouTube video that they really got lucky with 40K kind of being a little waning and confused and not having much of an internet presence, and they did a really good job of Privateer Press did a really good job of connecting to the fans and doing interesting miniatures and an interesting setting, and they moved it from metal into plastic and resin, and then once 40K woke up and picked up some steam, it kind of got eclipsed. And then they had the Mark III, I guess, wasn't handled very well. They had shortages of rule books and stuff, so they're more worried about getting the miniatures out there because that's where they made their money. And so they didn't print enough rule books, and so hobby shops are waiting for the rule books. And there were a ton of miniatures that nobody would buy because they didn't know, they didn't have stats or anything, because all of the books were getting jammed up. So that's a very funny thing. It seems like to remedy that, they should have just thrown everything in PDFs online just to get people to buy miniatures. Who knows? Abyss said, I think the Hero Forge digital model is good for both simulator and 3D. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you can... Hero Forge is very flexible. Like, you build that character and you can export it as a token or, a lot of different ways you can take it out of that creation system, and then plus you can order it as a physical miniature. Yeah, I really think if Moonbreaker is popular, they're going to have to do that something physical, because if people are connected with their their characters, they'll probably want physical, and then that means that they could offer it as a physical game as well. And I think that there could be something very interesting there, but I don't know if they're going to figure it out. I'm not sure how. Unknown Worlds, I don't think, is a huge company. They've got, I think, a good thinking and a good approach, but who knows if they're going to be able to execute on something that could be potentially as complicated as that. Yeah. It sounds like it could be it could be a big problem if they don't get things connected right and are going against people's expectations. And the funny thing is, they said initially they were just going to have unpainted, like all the miniatures were going to be unpainted to kind of force you to go into the painting tool and use the suite to put color in your miniatures. But then they just thought, there will be people that'll just play it with gray miniatures and it looks terrible in the game because the arenas, the battle arenas, are so colorful that just gray will look ridiculous. So they did default colors on everything. Hey, All Lucky 7, how's it going? Surprised to know that Jeri Ellsworth is behind Catan AR. She's good and cool and super smart, but Catan AR, why? They could do better. Oh, a Scotland Yard type of game. Oh, that's a good point, Lucky 7. Yeah, there's much better board games probably for AR than Catan. I wonder if that was just the license that they could get and an approach, like something they thought they could execute well, and do online multiplayer and kind of AI games. But yeah, that does seem. And if they are dealing with Asmodee, Embracer, then they have access, to Lord of the Rings, and there's all kinds of stuff now, all kinds of licenses that they could actually create AR games for. Very cool. Yeah, thanks for the feedback, All Lucky 7. Yeah. That was a very interesting. That just kept coming up, like the best digital miniature skirmish game and board games in AR versions of board games. So I don't know. I mean, I think I'm much more willing to try. Or to try to game or do things with AR than I am with VR. I don't think that's. I think that's a little too taxing, and hopefully AR works better for longer durations of time and isn't so disorienting. There's not as much nausea and strange things because it's playing with your sense of your inner ears getting screwed up and everything by it's not seeing what it thinks the position of your head is and all that good stuff. So yeah, I'd be much more willing to do that. And I think it even said in that article that the AR, which would be very cool for tabletop roleplay, the headsets are distinguishable, so you can send different players different information. Like different players can be seeing different things on the tabletop. That would be really cool for certain types of madness mechanics or certain spells and things in games where there's and even the lighting situations where everyone that doesn't have dark vision isn't seeing very, they're only seeing as far as their torch is throwing light, whereas the other characters. So that could be really interesting if they could execute something like that. But yeah, the price of the headsets sounds a little. I guess it's it's still cheaper than a lot of VR stuff, but it sounds a little prohibitive. And you still got to have a PC. You still got to have a PC running the whole thing, and who knows how powerful that has to be. But yeah, very interesting things. Microsoft kept showing off, like they're trying to do, like Minecraft or whatever things they own in AR, and I guess World of Warcraft now. Now that they own Activision Blizzard or whichever combination, whichever order those go in. But yeah, I'd be much more willing to give AR a try than VR, and especially because you could be in the room with other people with AR and still be like looking at people at a table and stuff, because it's just a layer in front of reality instead of like completely immersive. Because that sounds like the stupidest thing in the world is to be in the same room with people with like VR headsets on, or just be in a weird isolation, like, sitting in a dark room in your underwear with a headset on, playing tabletop role-playing games. But there's a lot of possibilities there, and I guess it just depends on, if people can get funding, if people can execute it well, and if people can get like license or things that attract players. That combination of things will create some interesting stuff in the future. Oh yeah, VR boxing. Yeah, that's right. I don't know. In Japanese houses, I don't know if I could actually get away with that. I'd probably put my hand through a lot of paper doors. So I'm not sure. Yeah, I can imagine a lot of that, and yeah, some of that though the repetitive motion stuff. Because I just remember just simply the motion controllers for the PlayStation 3. I think it started with 3 or 4. They had a boxing game, and then of course like Wii and stuff. A lot of that weird repetitive motion stuff. If you're like engrossed in a game and doing the motion for the controlling a character, you're using a lot of bad form. You're like doing weird things where you're gonna pull something. You're gonna make yourself sore if you're not paying attention. If you're too consumed with like winning in the game, that's the one difficult part about it probably. Nice. Yeah, I think you can do. I think you can just. It depends on how you do the settings. I think you can do sitting or standing. I don't know if you have to lean, because you do have a headset that would let you lean and everything. Yeah, I've never done full VR anything. Yeah, because I was looking. Yeah, it was right before Facebook bought Oculus. I was looking at getting a headset because there was a guy that I was doing game stuff for that he was talking about VR. So I almost got one of those early prototype Oculuses, and then he gave up. He lost his all his excitement for VR, so we didn't end up developing anything. So I didn't have one of those kits. And then once Facebook bought it, it became much less interesting. And then the PlayStation 1, I've seen like used ones pretty cheap, but I've heard people complain they're pretty low res and not that great. Although somebody that I knew that worked at Capcom said that the was it 7 Resident Evil / Biohazard 7, the VR version of that was pretty cool, because the way doors worked, you could kind of stick your head in a door, like you kind of get a little bit more of a view through a door, so it made it a lot more immersive and a lot scarier, because you're not just like pushing a button to push open a door. You're like actually like leaning in to try to see as much as possible. So that makes sense. But yeah, we'll see what happens with all this. And it's a shame now that some of these companies are getting so massive that the only person that could really execute this stuff well would be Microsoft or Amazon or whatever, and they're not going to do it well. So that really sucks. So hopefully a company like was it Tilt's? I'm totally blanking on. The Tilt 5, I think. Yeah, hopefully a company like Tilt 5, before they get bought up, can come up with some interesting approaches and make something happen. But I guess as soon as they start making money, they're going to start getting offers. Who knows? Yeah, and remember too that was back when I was talking about VR with the guy that was doing the mobile game development for. That was the I don't know, Consumer Electronics Show or whatever, where they first presented that bowl. It was kind of like that thing with rollers that you stand on, that you could walk on. The rollers, you were like walking in place basically, but you could move in the game, and so you're standing in this little kind of pad that has sensors that you can move directionally. So most of the VR, to move, you just kind of have to like point to an area and click, and you move forward. But this was, being able to actually walk. I think that was one of the things that got him inspired to want to do games. But it was just like some kind of like concave dish that you stand in, and you can walk in place, kind of like a weird treadmill, but you can move every direction because things rolled different directions, and get the feeling of movement. And I think it was tracked in the game itself, but who knows if that was even a thing. But yeah, so lots of stuff coming out, and I can't believe the Kickstarters just keep coming. And we got Dragonbane coming up end of this month, so that's fun. I hope that they can get that through production pretty fast. I'd like to get my hands on that, and they probably will give us PDFs pretty quick. I'd like to get my hands on that as soon as possible. That would be fun. But yeah, the Kickstarters just keep coming out, and I just get less and less interested, because it's just like kind of repeating the same the same stuff. I don't know, but we will see. Yeah, and it seems like the One D&D announcement and all the stuff from last week really eclipsed news. Like so much, I was just like getting through so much news that is just reactions to what Wizards is doing. So that's very, very uninteresting. Oh, and I saw the somebody wrote some details, and I didn't know what's it called. So when Magic the Gathering is doing these sets, like Secret Lair, I think they're called, or something. So when they're doing these big IP sets, like so not Dungeons and Dragons, because they own that, but Warhammer, and I think they did Walking Dead and some other Lord of the Rings, I think they're doing as well. That Secret Lair thing, I didn't know that was just like a weird pre-order system. So the cards are very expensive, the sets are very expensive, but they're like the premium, limited, whatever. But you're basically putting in your order for these commander decks, or the box box of these cards or whatever. They're all themed around an IP, and you wait 6 months, up to 6 months, for them to actually produce them. And I guess they're very cautious in doing that, doing a very careful pre-order system, because when they first tried it, they really screwed up. And they had they were doing it on a website, and the website kept crashing, and then they overprinted, and they screwed up a lot with the first time that they did some kind of weird IP based thing that that Wizards didn't own. So I was really thinking that's a weird. It's so unappealing. I mean, it's similar to Kickstarters though, but pre-ordering something that's like, oh, I can't wait to play this in 6 months. If you're even gonna care about it, then. Yeah, it's very strange. Yeah, Matt, Dragonbane. The backer kit is still open on Mothership 1E. Yeah, I haven't played it. We were about to play Mothership when Alien, when we started the Alien RPG, so that kind of eclipsed things. But it's very versatile. I think Mothership is very versatile as far as the kind of sci-fi you can play, like the different kind of genres and stuff you can play, but it's still horror elements or survival elements and things are still very much in there. But yeah, I really want to try a Dead Space type thing, like a mining colony with some kind of weird mutants. But we haven't played that. That was like one of those things that we all had. I think Chris had the actual zine, like the actual printed zines, and I had the PDF, and we were getting ready to play that, and then Free League hit us with Alien, and we liked those panic mechanics very much. Yeah, I've definitely heard good things about it, and I supported the 1E campaign with all of the adventures. So at least that'll be some inspirational source. But I'll have that. I'll do an unboxing as soon as I get that, and we'll try to play. I mean, that's something we definitely should give a shot, even though we've got some good Alien RPG to still play as well. There's still another. I think there's one more cinematic coming out in that sequence, that original trilogy. But I definitely heard good things about Mothership. Chris especially was a big fan of the mechanics. It was just the setting. As soon as we got actual Alien, it's like, oh, well, why play pretend Alien when we can play actual licensed Alien? But I think Mothership is much more versatile as far as the types of settings and games you can play, because it's not tied to an IP. But yeah, we'll be getting that soon, so we'll take a look. And I mean, I've heard nothing but good things. I don't think I got all the way through the PDF. I just kind of skimmed through it. But Chris has said good things about Mothership. So yeah, what else is going on? So yeah, the Dark Tower. That's not going to be until like end of next year or whatever. The Dark Tower expansion. I got to get some Dark Tower going, and the RPG book is going to be coming probably after the new year as well. Lots of funny stuff. But yeah, hopefully that painting stream will keep going on. I'm going to finish my Magic users, my Rapartha Wizards, if we do that this weekend. And and I am going to get to finish the Enemy Within, the first campaign, the Shadow over Bogenhofen, is we're going to finish that tomorrow. So that's great, because we're going to have to wish Astral a fond farewell. Maybe I'll do a stream like on the 31st or whatever the last day would be. The last day of Astral, I'll do a live stream with a send-off, and I'll just kind of show like what I was able to set up and how easy it is to set up. And then we'll just watch it get deleted. We'll watch it just get cut off. But yeah, I'm happy we're able to finish that because the summer vacation and stuff kind of scattered everyone in my daughter's house sitting and stuff. So, so house sitting and jury duty. She managed. She managed to come back, basically to her hometown, and then got jury duty. So fun, but that's been our big complication. All right. But yeah, I think that's going to do it for this week. So sorry about the weird setup. I'm going to get the appropriate cables and get everything set up and maybe a wireless keyboard so I can chat a little bit better to you guys. I just have to do it on my phone currently. And yeah, with no glasses, that monitor is completely invisible. There's some distant kind of blurry thing emitting light. So I'll try to not forget my glasses next time as well. All right. But, oh yeah, and it's probably going to take the forwarding service that I have for stuff from America is pretty slow, so it's probably going to take almost a month, like three or 4 weeks. But the Tonisborg, the Lost Dungeon of Tonisborg, is coming from Fellowship of the Thing. So those guys published it in the Kickstarter and all the collection of the original Tonisborg maze. So I'll do that. I'll do a flip through of that because that should be really fun to take a look at because it's a lot of scans of the original notes and drawings and stuff. And that early, Blackmore era RPG stuff is it's so great to see. So that'll be a real fun thing, a real artifact to go through. So they did a nice linen wrapped second printing of it. I think the first one was green and this is red to distinguish the printings. So I ordered that. It finally got printed. They were having trouble. They had to upgrade the paper because everyone's running out of paper. And I'm screwed. My books are all screwed because of paper. So I'm going to have to remake a lot of my cartoon collection book. Both of them are totally screwed. So the anniversary book is also going to be crazy expensive, I'm sure, if I want to do a decent version of it. Because all of these the print-on-demand services, I guess it's mostly Lightning, are really raising their prices like crazy. So it's making it almost unusable. Like it's cheaper to do a short run offset print per unit. It's getting cheaper to do that than to deal with this print on demand stuff because of the supply chain stuff and their access to paper and how they're limiting the number of formats and things that they're using. It really sucks. So my stuff is still available on Amazon, but I don't know for how long until I release the new the updated version of it. So that sucks. So yeah. So some Tonisborg is coming. I'm not sure exactly when, and I'll be able to talk about finishing up the Shadow over Bogenhofen. Yay! So some warlock powered Warhammer fantasy roleplay, and the end is gonna be crazy. I hope they're ready for it. I'm just gonna kind of throw them into it. It's like, okay, do you remember where we are? Okay, go, because it's the last day. Like they went to sleep the last day before the ritual. So, yikes! Should be fun. All right, so thanks again, and especially thank you to all the patrons. This is the patron audio that you'd be listening to if you've got the RSS feed, or if you're just watching on the live stream. Thank you as always for hanging out in the chat and being on the live stream. And we will be back next week to do more of the same, and hopefully some more interesting and more tabletop, less virtual and digital topics for next week. So take care, everyone, and it was good to see you, Matt, Abyss, and All Lucky 7. Thanks for the feedback about Tilt 5. And yeah, Crispin as well. Caught you early on. So yeah, take care, everyone, and we'll be back again next week. Goodbye.